The following was recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic through Zoom meetings in accordance with local health guidelines. Hi, I'm Mike Maloney, and welcome to another CSRM podcast. Today's episode is hosted by Dr. Greg Linville.
Welcome back, CSRM podcast. This is the third one on Overwhelming Victory Radio, and it's a series that's helping you, the local church sports rec and fitness minister. Maybe you're a volunteer, but maybe you're more likely a staff person. We're helping you with some new resources that are coming to you via the podcast world. Most of them are video as well as audio. But regardless of whether you're listening or watching, they're designed so that you have the ability to do a better job of serving the Lord in your capacity as that minister in your local church. We've introduced people in the past couple segments, and so we're not going to go around and introduce everybody again this one. If you missed last time, very inspirational, very exciting time with our current board chair, White and Angela McDowell, and about marriage mentoring and how you can benefit your own ministry and your own marriage and the things that they bring about and coaching people through their marriages and mentoring people in that way. We're going to talk now about a new podcast that is really, I don't know, we don't even know what we're going to call it yet. Maybe it's all old salts, or who knows what it's going to be. But these guys are seasoned veterans. So seasoning, salt, I'm sorry, it gets worse as we go. But these guys have been around this block for many, many years. And David Waddell is our current executive director. Soon to be, I think September, our director of academic as an academic liaison, helping with certification and getting your degrees. And John Longworth is the current recreation minister. Is that the right term, John?
That'll work.
Okay, that'll work. But he does the sports rec and fitness at his church, Germantown Baptist in Memphis, Tennessee. So tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you're hoping to accomplish. How are you going to help sports ministers around the world?
Well, David, do you want to start, or do you want me to jump in?
Well, he said we were seasoned, so just go ahead and pepper them with what you've got.
Oh, that was nice. Well done.
This is a preview.
Well, we're full of sage.
You know, that was a very nice way, Greg, of telling David and I that we are incredibly old, and so we're grateful that you said it the way that you did. But I think this will be the type of podcast that to some degree or another will evolve. We hope to be able to use our time with sports rec and fitness ministers over time to be able to equip, encourage, help them to learn from our mistakes. David did an incredible job of mentoring me, equipping me to lead after he stepped out of his position in our church. And I've had the opportunity over the years to do that with others. And so we'll talk about leadership. We'll talk about equipping. We'll talk about communication. We'll talk about staffing and facilities, a number of different things that we've had the opportunity to be involved with through the years. I've been at my church for almost 21 years now. And so you see a lot, you learn a lot, and you have the opportunity to interact with a lot of different types of people on different levels. And so we'll talk about those interactions, what works, what doesn't. We've probably made a lot of mistakes along the way. Certainly David has made many more than I have. And so he'll have an opportunity to talk about those mistakes and give folks the chance to learn from some of the things that we simply screwed up along the way. We'll have a good time doing that. David and I enjoy a great working relationship, a great friendship through the years. We not only worked together, but now we have served together on the board of CSRM. And so that friendship, that working relationship will come into play. And, we may not know from one podcast to the next exactly what it's going to look like, but I'm confident we'll cover some things that will be insightful, hopefully, practical, certainly, and things that sports, rec, and fitness ministers can take hold of and use wherever they're serving to make a difference in the lives of their church, their community, and the world. We do what we do to break down barriers and build relationships in order to advance the gospel, and we want to play a role in helping others do that.
John, what you're saying is so important, and I can't tell you how many folks that I've talked to that have said to me, and they're a similar genre as you and I, that we've been doing this for a few decades, and they say, I wish I would have known this. I wish somebody would have told me this way back when. And I think that that's what's going to come out of you guys, because you guys have this journey, and there's successes, there's kind of plateaus, there's valleys, there's peaks, there's all these things that you guys have experienced, and I think that's what we're looking forward to. And the thing that I'll give you this illustration, that I talked with a church, and they were seeking a new senior pastor, and they were part of a denomination that over the last 20 years have lost over half of their membership, and that group was coming in and saying, this is who you need to hire as your pastor, and this is where you need to go. And I talked to one of the elders of the church, and I said, now, and he was a huge, huge business success. And I said, when you have your business, do you go to the person who has failed or the person who's successful? And he said, well, we go to the people who are successful. And I said, I think that's why it's important to think about getting these mentors that have been successful to help you figure out who your next senior pastor will be. But we can also learn from the failures, can we not? But I think what I want you guys, you and David, you have both said, yeah, we failed here or there, but you guys have had far more success. And that's why we hope that they're going to listen to you guys. They're going to tune you in, because there's wisdom that just drips from both of you guys. And it's obvious. David, what do you have to add to this?
Well, basically, it's because of my failures that I'm on this team. It's just it's what I have to offer. I've made some terrible mistakes in my life, one of which led to a divorce. So I know Dwight and Angela offer marriage help, but sometimes my mantra is ask the divorce guy for advice. If I can help you with your marriage, I'll give you advice. If you do the opposite, your marriage will work. And so we can just offer a variety of things. John and I have worked well together, so well that we've actually established a Memphis CSRM office to work at, and we actually have a meeting there later today. It happens to be in one of Memphis's finer barbecue restaurants, which is completely coincidence. I don't know. I texted John once. I said it's an hour and 29 minutes for me to get to the restaurant, and I knew that because I looked it up on Google Maps, and John didn't buy that. That I looked it up to find that time frame. We've just had a great experience. John was a unique hire in a lot of ways, because I worked for a pastor at that time that felt it was better to hire people with the gifts that you needed out of your local church rather than look all over the place. And we had looked all over for someone and found John in our backyard, and we have worked well together. And the testament to his 21 years is that I'm kind of like the John Wooden in basketball. There are better strategy people in recreation and sports ministry. There are people that can put together better programs, but I've been a fair judge of talent throughout the years, and John's a testament to that. The last two churches I left, the associate took over and just flourished like crazy, and so it's been good in that sense. But I think we can offer some things as well. Sports and recreation ministers never get to be the top of the heap. You know, we're always working for someone, and we've had the pleasure and displeasure of working with great pastors and some that probably needed to take an extra class or two in seminary that didn't take that extra class or two in seminary. And so I think sometimes we can even offer encouragement or consoling, or just, if nothing else, we kind of know where you are and what you're dealing with. We'll be careful on that particular topic because those pastors are still alive, and this is being recorded, so we won't mention them by name. But I think we'll have some stuff that can help. And again, throw a topic at us, communicate with the OVR leaders. If you have a topic you want us to cover, as I've said to John, I can talk a long time and not say anything, so we can cover pretty much any topic.
And he frequently does. If I can speak to, David, your comment about hiring from within, it doesn't always work this way. It's not always practical. It's not always the best scenario, but that's exactly what we've done in CSRM. And I don't want to sound like I'm patting myself on the back. I am, but I don't want to sound that way. But one of the best things that I look back at the years that I served on the board and my last year as board chair, we were able to convince Dan Stouffer, not that he could do the job. We felt like he could. He is incredibly skilled and gifted, but we convinced him that he wanted to be the next executive director of CSRM. And we put in place a strategy to help him succeed in that role through this year of transition. And so, that's one of the things that I learned from you, is looking within when it makes sense to do so, and putting in place people who believe in the organization, who have experience, and that are equipped to take those next steps to lead into our preferred future. And so we've had great leadership at CSRM, Greg Linville, to some extent, David Waddell. I pick on him because I love him. And now Dan Stouffer, as he transitions into that role in September, I believe. And so, there's so much we can learn from each other. And I think that's what our podcast is going to be about, how we learn from each other, what we've done well, where we messed up, piggybacking on, simple things. Wiffle ball. How do you turn wiffle ball into a ministry? How do you, one of the things that I always appreciated about David was that he would say, yeah, if you can take tiddlywinks and show me how that's going to be ministry, then certainly we'll consider that. And so being open to new and creative ideas, and always having that desire to learn, to grow, and to equip others to step into roles of leadership and continue learning and growing. I think those are a couple of the things that David and I have done well through the years, and we hope to be able to continue doing that in whatever areas of influence we continue to have.
Well, we're excited about this new podcast that you guys are going to be doing.
I want to real quick point one other thing out about this pair that I hope listeners will be able to grab, is that as they share through their stories of regrets or failures or hardship and staff and all that other stuff, is the fact that here we have two men of God who have come through all of it, and the one thing that they exude all the time is just joy. And the idea of, regardless of all of these other things that are going on, you're still able to come out of it smiling. You're still able to come out of it with friendships. You're still able to come out of it with this sense of God is good. And so I need to just share that with people. And that's the other thing that, these two, especially together as a pair, they exemplify more than anybody else I know.
Well said. David, John, any last words? Okay.
This will be rare, but I got nothing.
So this is the quietest I've seen these two, I think, ever since I joined CSRM.
Well,
I just would agree with David. He has nothing, and so we can end it there. But I will say on a fairly serious note, David has a very witty sense of humor. He's punny. My sense of humor is a little drier, more sarcastic. But we both have a tendency to use that as a tool to grab attention, to break down barriers and build relationships in order to advance the gospel. That's why we're here. And so we're not goofy just for the sake of being goofy, but we use that sometimes, when appropriate, as a tool to grab attention and then hit people with what really matters. And so that may come out from time to time. It may not. Who knows? But I think we'll enjoy the time that we have together with all of you. And we look forward to that time in the days ahead.
We certainly do look forward to that. This is going to be a special part of it. When we come back on our next podcast, we're going to be spending some time with our future executive director, Dan Stouffer. And Dan is going to be sharing with us some things that have been going on, will continue to go on, that we now call Tuesday Talks. And so please do join us next week when this comes out, and we'll hear more about another one of our Overwhelming Victory Radio podcasts. Thanks for joining us this week.
The CSRM podcast is a production of the Association of Church Sports and Recreation Ministers and their video production house, Overwhelming Victory Flix. Dr. Greg Linville is the executive producer, and Andrew Fouts is associate producer and editor. For more information about CSRM, visit csrm.org. For more information about Overwhelming Victory, visit overwhelmingvictory.org. The CSRM podcast is the flagship member of a new podcast network called Overwhelming Victory Radio. For more information on Overwhelming Victory Radio or to listen to our partner podcasts, visit overwhelmingvictory.org/OV-radio. For CSRM Podcasts, I'm Mike Maloney. Have a blessed day.